Hi, what's going on guys? Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I want to teach you how to learn Tailwind CSS. I'm not going to teach you Tailwind CSS, I'm going to teach you how you can learn it and very quickly and efficiently. So what I want to say in this video is that you don't learn Tailwind CSS, you just practice it. So if you already know CSS, you can learn Tailwind and practice it basically in just few days. And how you can do it is just by building some project, some layout. So what I did to learn it in 2 days is just to create this landing page that I took inspiration from from this website, Front End Mentor. So what you can do is you can filter here by the free option, and then you can choose any layout or any, I don't know, any component that you want to build with Tailwind. So for example, let's look what they have here. So for example, this thing over here, I don't know what it is, but let's take a look. So you can actually download the starting files and you will get the images and style guides for this project. So let's look at what they have here. Okay, seems legit. So they have here some menus and stuff like that. And also the mobile version. Yeah, seems good. But what I chose to do is I chose to do this bank something landing page, where it is easy bank landing page. So I downloaded this starting project, and what you get from, by the way, this is a SvelteKit application, but it doesn't matter. You can do it in anything that in any framework that you want. You can do it even with just JavaScript. It doesn't matter. So when you download the files, you get some kind of style guide that they provide you with colors and stuff like that, and the designs for desktop, mobile, active states. And you can just follow it and just create a project with Tailwind, and you will see that you don't need any additional knowledge. It's even easier than just writing CSS if you already know it, because they provide some very useful utility classes. So I still want to go through a little bit through examples that I did. We will go through some code, and I will show you some very important tricks that you can do to be efficient with Tailwind. But I'm not going to teach you Tailwind in this course. So first of all, I'm using here SvelteKit application, so you can go to the Tailwind docs and let's say here Tailwind CSS. Let's go here and let's go to docs and let's go to installation. Okay, so here you can use any framework, any guide that you want to set up your Tailwind project. So for SvelteKit, you have these steps that I just followed. And what you get, first of all, what you get from this starting project is to get some images, some SVGs, icons. Yeah, so when you set up the Tailwind CSS, you have this tailwind config.js file that here you can actually configure your theme and extend some stuff and use to use it in your project. So basically here I have all the colors and why it's looking like this. So here are the colors that I set up. You can see that I'm extending the theme, and we have here the font family that I am using here, and screens. You can set up basically even more stuff, but I think I didn't even use this in the end. Yeah, so this is the Tailwind config in short, and this is the main CSS file that you import the Tailwind utils. And here we have our page basically with all the components that you see over here in my project. So before we go through some code examples, let's see what is actually going on the page. So we have here the navbar with some links, basically nav links, and you can see we have a hover effect. And by the way, I'm not sure if you can see it, but we have also some transition between the animations. So it's very easy to set up this. We have the hero page, basically the main with the main image and everything. Here we have this section with how did I call it? Features. Okay, seems legit. Here we have the articles and the footer at the bottom. I think it's not pixel perfect from the design, but it's look pretty decent. And I want to show you the mobile as well. So see here, the layout is basically changing, and Tailwind is by design mobile first, so it's very easy to implement mobile, so responsive design, and you will see in a moment how you can do it. So here is the mobile version. Everything is aligned to the center and the footer. It's pretty cool. Now let's look at the code examples. I just want to show you some very high over level of Tailwind, so you will just have a rough idea of what is going on. So here we have with Svelte, we have this lib folder that you can import stuff from it with absolute path. So we have here the components, and we have here the sections, and we can, for example, take a look at the button component. So the button is this reusable button that we saw, and basically I can pass here some props uh, affect the styles. Okay, so for example, if I have this hidden on mobile, if I send it as a true, it's going to be hidden by default on mobile. So for example, you can see here that we have, when I hover over this class, I can see the CSS styles that this class applies. So it's very convenient. And here, for example, this block is going to be display block. Okay. And what I told you before, so every style that I apply is going to be mobile first. And if I want to do styles for bigger viewports, I can specify the size. So for example, you can see here SM is a mean width of 640 pixels. So everything above this screen width is going to be applied with the styles that I provide. So if the minimum width is 630 pixel, the display is going to be block bold, and so on and so on. You can see that I'm using the colors, and yeah, we have some gradient thing in the buttons, stuff like that. Another cool thing that you can do is you can customize the Tailwind classes by brackets. So for example, if we take a look at this thing, max width of 200 pixel, so I can specify specific pixels with these brackets. Yeah. So, and here is the transition and what is actually making the smooth animations. So we have transition of 200 milliseconds, and so on and so on. So we have the navbar with the links, and you're probably thinking, okay, so how can I actually start? How can I implement? How can I know these classes? How can I implement them? So it's very simple. So you just need to translate your CSS knowledge into Tailwind classes. So what you do is you start creating the component, and every style that you want to apply, you go over here. You have all the documentation here is very great. So you can see all the core concepts that they will explain the responsive design, the effects of hover and stuff like that, dark mode, reusing styles. You have customization. So what I told you about the theme basically, and the screens, spacing. So for example, if you go to theme, you can see here that you can actually extend the theme. You can change the theme that is already exists. Screens, you have the option to customize also the breakpoints for the screens, so spacing, so on. We have layout and all the things. By the way, they have some very cool utility class which is called a container, and the container is what makes. So I want to show you that if I make the screen, this is the maximum I think. Let's see the pixels here. So it's, yeah, so it's above 1000 and 1800. Yeah, anyway, so you can see here uh, the max width 1500. So for each breakpoint you have this container thing. It's going to make a max width of the content that you want to use. So you can see here that all these things are aligned together. So the navbar is aligned here with the hero page, with the features, with the articles, with the footer, and it's very straightforward to implement it. You just need to use a class of container. So I specify here SM going to be container. So everything above SM is going to use container. And also I did it for every other section. So you can see here, the section here is going to be, yeah, so actually the section is not going to be a container because I want the background to have like all the width. So inside it, we have a container for the content, right? So for the articles themselves. So container is something very cool that I wanted to mention. So you can basically look here at layout. You have grid, you have flexbox. By the way, I used flexbox for most of my components, for most of my sections. But for the footer, I wanted to challenge myself a little bit and to use a grid. I could do it with flexbox, but I decided to do it with grid. So here you can see MD grid, and we have a grid with 8 columns, all right? And basically what I did here, so you can see here, let me show you the UI for a moment. So we have a grid with 1, 2, and 3 columns. But you don't see the footer actually. All right, so now you can see the footer properly, and you can see that we have 1, 2, and 3 grid columns. All right, and here I'm using flex for this thing over here. Let me actually inspect this and you will see it better. So let's look at the footer. So this is my grid, and this is a column, okay, and this is a column, and this is a column, and this column is going to be flex is MD items, and so the items will be pushed. So these items is going to be pushed to the end of the flex container, right? and this is how they designed it. So I just followed the design. I didn't ask any questions, you can see. Yeah, so you can see here in the code example for grade, most of the sections you can see example of flexbox. So here you have flex column, and I think that I will upload this project to GitHub anyway, so we'll have an example of this code. So we will have a reference for this code, but I very encourage you to try to do a project yourself. Just pick one of these projects. You can even pick like a very simple one. So for example, I don't know what they have here. Invitation card, whatever. So even, I don't know, something simple like e-commerce product page. Actually, this one looks very interesting. E-commerce product page. I think there are some challenges here, but you can even pick something even more easy. Maybe like this thing over here. What is this? Yeah, seems very straightforward. So if you want to practice your Tailwind CSS skills, you haven't used it before, you will be very surprised how your CSS knowledge is transferable to Tailwind, and it's very convenient to use Tailwind with all these new meta frameworks that are coming out. So actually, Next.js, SvelteKit, all this stuff, it's not possible to use CSS in JS because of the server-side rendering, and uh, if you saw some of my previous videos, you know that I use for single page apps, I use emotion and style components for basically every project, because the idea behind it and the idea behind Tailwind is the same thing. Just the idea is just to isolate the classes, to use like, you can, of course, you can use reusable classes, because you can see here the banner and everything, the button, they are reusable. You can create them once and use them everywhere. But if you want to change styles to a specific place, to change, I don't know, to create a page with specific styles, the you don't need to do some global crazy stuff. Just define your styles exactly where you want them, okay? So CSS in JS and Tailwind trying to achieve the same thing, they just do it very, very differently. I still don't know which one I prefer, which one it's better for big projects, because I don't have enough practice with Tailwind. But anyway, for the meta frameworks, you are supposed to use either, if you use SvelteKit, you can use the styles directly here. So you can just say style, and everything will be with unique IDs. You don't need to worry about some global styles and some bullshit like that. But if you use, I don't know, Next.js or something, uh, with with the server components, you have to use some CSS and not CSS in JS. So Tailwind is a good option to use, and I recommend you to try it, and you will get it in no time. Believe me, it's very, very straightforward. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will not spend hours on courses that teach you Tailwind, that goes through all the examples and everything, because it's a waste of time. Don't do it. Just practice it. Remember, you don't learn it, you just practice. So don't waste time on hours of tutorials. Just do stuff. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys, and thank you for watching.